You know?
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
okay, let's come back a little back to Earth. So thought, that is the design of thought, which is time, psychological time, is it's always moving in this circle, you know, always acting as if it's separate from itself. So there's a me in there, there's something in me other than myself. Now, what exactly is that? Because if you look at it, you can see that still it's thinking. And what is that thinking? How does thinking start? And perhaps if you can see how it starts, you can pinpoint it. You know, I know it's always going to try to run, but you can actually see it for what it is. So how does thinking start? What triggers thinking?
Things. A session, maybe. An idea, rather.
For example, right now, I just asked you a question, right? That whole movement started. So your senses, right? You hear me, you hear me talking. And then the only reason you understood what I was saying is because you know the language, right? So you've accumulated that notion, the English notion in your mind. Isn't that thought as well? Because when I say A, you know what A is. I mean, you can literally picture A right now. So thinking is experiences. It's your memories. Can you think of something that you don't know? That's the question I always ask.
You
Think
can.
like what?
No, I'm saying
You can't. So without memory, there's no thinking.
Yeah.
Without, you have to start. You have an experience.
Accumulate
Yeah.
stuff.
You
through the
accumulate
senses.
something.
you-
It doesn't matter.
Yep.
No,
For
please
the most
try.
part, you can.
Yeah.
I think you can think of something. I mean,
Like
for
what?
instance, like, okay, cool, we're going to this place, you know. I'll try by all means to send you the pictures of the place. But this is what's going on there. If I tell you the activities that go there, you already start thinking about what could it possibly look like.
Yeah. Now I'm only thinking of it because you told me. You gave me an image. You gave me an activity. I can't possibly think. To even start to think of a place, you must have told me that we're going to a place, which means I even know the notion of what is a place.
Okay, cool. No.
To even think of a place, I have to know the meaning of the word place.
Yeah.
So thinking is nothing else but accumulation of memories
Memory.
through your experiences, through your senses.
Okay. Yeah.
So this thing here that is memory has made itself so big that it goes even beyond those experiences that started it in the first place. You see the danger now? So through these experiences, you have memories, and then at some point, that structure now feels like it's bigger than memories themselves, than experiences themselves, without realizing that it's limited to that level. In fact, what's even more mysterious is experience itself. The fact that listening, for example, is happening. The fact that, you know, this whole movement of life is happening. Not thinking. Thinking is translating it. But life itself as it's happening is far more mysterious. Right? Now, is there a way to stop that con artist of thinking? Don't answer me. Try and see how hard it is.
To stop thinking.
I mean, I'm thinking about the question already,
You
so
know,
it's like
about
it's
stopping.
impossible.
You're thinking about thinking.
Yeah, so it's no.
So even the guy who's gonna say, yeah, maybe I can stop, still
Thanks.
thinking, right? He's acting as if he can do something about himself.
So, yeah.
Now that's time, that's psychological time, that's the trap I'm talking about. Right? So someone comes along, let's say me, right? I seem to be a little bit rational. Right? I don't want to trick you into anything. Now I'll tell you, look, there's really a way for thought to come to an end, which means time to come to an end. And it's only possible if you can understand it, you observe it, and by discovering that the one observing is the observed. If you can just see the truth of it, not think about it. If you can find out that the thinker is nothing but a thought, for that split second, I don't want to say split second because that implies time, but for that, whatever.
Moment.
Concept.
Still time,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
For that little moment, the whole of life, literally, it's almost as if you have the whole world in your hands. It's almost as if the mind wakes up to itself for the first time. It sees that it's moving in circle. There's no one who's going to stop the movement, because the very act of trying to stop the movement is creating the movement. It will fight. Somehow we feel like we have to control this thing right now, right? So we'll fight. But then you know that you know what you're doing. It goes on and on. But there's these few instances, and most likely, probably it happens when your mind has gotten tired, you know. It's understood that it's caught in a trap. And generally it happens in your sleep, where your mind is completely honest with yourself. It's like, it's literally like...
Reflecting back on everything.
No, there's not even reflecting back, because there's no time there. It's like putting a mirror in front of itself. For the first time, the mind sees itself exactly how it is. Which is why I was saying it's important to know yourself for what you are, as you know, during the day like this, to not train. It's not a training thing, but for the mind to know itself, at least on that superficial level. You know, I'm hurting, okay, fine, I'm hurting, and I'm trying to stop it, you know, I'm doing all this, good. And then the more it does that, the more it learns to be with itself. It's not scared of itself anymore. And then you have these few moments whereby the mind is so clear, so quiet, that it can see itself without any movement. And that mind is this. I don't know if it makes sense. That mind that you think, you know, that's what's going on in your mind, is exactly this what's happening. What you see here, the world, the physical, the fears. Now, look what happens. You tell this to someone, and then what they do is they record it as an idea, as a memory. They don't do the job. They don't actually look at it. You have to doubt, you know. You have to doubt everything that's coming out of someone. Just look at it. Find out for yourself.
Question.
Is that so? Or how can that be? Okay. What is thinking? What is time? This and that. Then you realize that for the first time in your life, now you become responsible. Responsible not for your beastly little car there, or your you know, whatever, but you've understood that whatever that is going on, I am doing it. Therefore, there's no one to blame. You can't even blame yourself, because that's thinking again. So whatever that is going on, I'm doing it. And that's the birth of compassion. That's love. You see another person and you think, so this really is, you can't hurt another being. That's what we don't have. That's why we have this society. Everyone feels like, you know, it's me against them. So we create all these little groupments of people, right? We've split the whole mind, we split the whole thing. So basically what's happening in us, because we're so divided, fragmented, it's reflecting out here as religions, different religions, as political movements, as I am an artist, you are a scientist. anything you can think of, all these divisions between people, is because in the mind, that's where it starts, right? You can't create a country without thinking about it.
Yeah.
So the very movement of thinking has created this. And by nature, that's how it is. But at some point, the mind has to rebel against this because it's a trap. There's no hell I can think worse than this. When you don't realize what you're doing to yourself.
Yeah.
So now, let's say you're serious about all this, right? And you want to find out, okay, sure, you want to find out. How do you do this? Do you think you can even attempt to find out, or is it too scary? Because the whole society is against that, right? The moment you leave here, you have your culture calling, Amazulu, come, you have your
People.
yeah, people, and and it gives you security in there. Like, yes, you have your whole race. They did this to us. Like, how come? And you're fighting. The moment you leave here, there's your religion. You're Christian or Muslim or Buddhist. Or you say, I'm an atheist, all those things are rubbish. So you see, you're always putting yourself in those little brackets.
Boxes, yeah.
Now, how do you get out of that thing? As a human being, you're bound to hit that wall. So how do you deal with that then?
Outside of religion?
Yeah, outside of religion. So
Okay,
religion
outside
is
of
the
God?
ultimate.
I can't
Solution.
see it. For me, God is the solution for everything.
Yeah.
And I understand that it's different for everybody. Everybody has their own different concepts.
that's true.
Yeah, it's just that I cannot, and I don't want to take myself out of that position of like, that's everything for me.
Yeah, you can't. You're conditioned to be there.
Call it conditioning.
Well, no,
yeah.
it's
Well,
a
yeah,
condition.
it's a condition. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I was raised that way. There's my
Raised.
environments and everything. But I'm conditioned that way, and I also feel like I don't want to be in a different space. I don't want to be. I don't know.
No, good. No, if that works for you,
Yeah.
then go ahead. You do it.
Yeah.
But I know you will hit the wall. I hope God you don't. But I know you will. I know you will.
Yeah.
And
Because that's
it's
life.
gonna come in. Yeah, it's life.
Yeah.
And at some point, because as long as the mind is not secure, I don't know if you've ever noticed, before you go to sleep, you try to put some order in your mind, saying, I did this, I was talking to that person, I said that, I should have said that.
Yeah.
Or tomorrow I have a meeting with that person, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna wake up, or let me put an alarm. So the mind, every second, is trying to be orderly. And that's what I call superficial order, because also it comes from the mind itself, the thinking process. And the thinking process can never be complete because there's always a lack of information. So before you go to sleep, that's what happens. It tries to rationalize, put order so that it can finally be at peace. And say, God is going to take care of it tomorrow, good. Then you sleep,
Yeah.
right? Now, then you dream.
Yeah.
A lot of dreams. And those some of them crazy
Some you
dreams.
remember, yeah.
So that's still the mind going on. Because you're sleeping, right? So you're not actually living those things. Then the mind now goes crazy there, because there it still is going in that quest of I have to be secure. So if you have money issues, you might just win the lottery in the dream. Something happened, you're like, oh my God, yeah, finally I'm secure. The mind will not give you any second until you see it for what it is. Now you can create all these concept ideas and have the illusion that you are secure. But the mind knows what's going on. It knows your fears, your hurts,